Will, great to see you, man. Welcome to Pop Alternative.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
This is exciting. I mean, it's so crazy, right? Because you've dealt with this now for a lot of seasons, right? It's such a big deal and big push when a new season of Bridgerton comes out, right? And now,
Yeah.
is it been kind of the same kind of overwhelming feelings over time compared to season one to season four, or has it kind of been a lot different?
I think, you know what, despite it sort of getting bigger and bigger each season, for me, I feel like it's become such a normal part of my life now that it's starting to not phase me actually. I'm still very grateful for having this for this role. But yeah, no, every year I kind of just see it as just a blessing, really.
Absolutely. It's interesting too, right? Because every season it's like, okay, we're returning. We are so back. Bridgerton, Gregory's back, right? And then you're going to look at what Gregory's up to with his family, and you're going to look at overall kind of the storylines of Bridgerton. And every season there's a different kind of angle. What's that like for you, preparation wise, looking at your stuff, right? Like your storyline versus just in
Yeah.
general everything else? Because those are two different things in a lot of ways, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very aware of what happens to Gregory in his season. And I'd be very lucky to explore that one day. But for now, I mean, for at least the shift for season four, I just sort of saw it as him growing up a little bit,
Mhm.
sort of suddenly finally sort of joining the family in a more adult way, instead of just being the little boy that runs around with Hyacinth, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. You get those scripts and then you get there, right? Because there's so much before you get there on set, right? When you're filming, when you're in production for Bridgerton, right?
Of
So
course,
you
yeah.
see everything. And I'm sure, after season one, you could really, like, you were there, so you can kind of envision what's going to look like for season two and three and on. But what's that like actually getting there after reading scripts? Like, what's that like, that script to screen journey, seeing everything come to life with Bridgerton for you?
It's an amazing thing because for me, I what I picture in my head is never what it turns out to be, which I love because it means that so every single season is that slight bit different that keeps the viewers engaged, keeps them interested. And I think that's what's really special about Bridgerton is that despite it all being from the same sort of story, same universe, everything's different. And that diversity gives it what the people want, that sort of different thing each season keeps them excited.
Absolutely. You did mention in the beginning of the interview that the kind of, dissemination of a new season of Bridgerton at this point feels kind of like a normal part of your life and everything. But
Yeah,
like,
for
can you
sure.
talk about when the global kind of, because the Netflix drop is global and it's the most beautiful thing in the world, right? Where
Yeah.
instantly people watch the new season of Bridgerton across different time zones. Like depending on where you wake up in the morning, like people have
Yeah.
already probably watched the whole thing, right?
Yeah, very
So when
true.
did you start kind of really, noticing the global impact? Because season one, there's a lot going on, so you're probably not thinking about it as much. But would you say season two, season three, you're like, wow, this is like global?
Well, actually, I think the day Bridgerton came out for season one, I believe it was on Christmas Day, actually. And I remember we were all at home because it was a lockdown, and I remember going on social media and everybody was talking about it, and I was like, I had no idea it'd be this big, this like loved this much.
Yeah.
But then I think yeah, it sort of cooled down, and then we filmed season two, and then that came out, and it was just as big, if not bigger. And that's when I was like, okay, they're onto something here. They've definitely got a formula that's definitely going to work. So yeah, I think season two was probably that moment for me.
And now season four, and it's like the biggest thing. And like one of the things too,
No.
which is crazy, is we have to talk about the recital, right? The whole dancing. I mean, I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
sure if like it's interesting, right? Because like, do you? There's a lot of conversations you don't know, but like it was really cool with 365 and everything with Charlie XCX, right? Like that
yeah.
song. But like, can you take me through that, like doing that, preparing for that, but also like, did you know in advance it was going to be that song? Like, I'm just curious about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So we had 2 days of rehearsal, where we met all the other dancers. We worked with Jack Murphy, our choreographer, and that was like my first time that I was dancing in a ballroom. I'd had that little dance with Claudia in season two, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, this was like my first sort of big one, and I remember hearing the song and it was really exciting because because we all knew that there was going to be some sort of mainstream song that was going to be used here. So we were guessing, and then we finally heard it and we were like, okay, this is going to be a big one for sure. And then learning that dance, it was much harder than I thought it would be. I was like, I've danced in the past. I can do this. It'll be a piece of cake. But then, as soon as I started doing it, I realized that my feet don't work sometimes, you know. And then I was like all over the place. But soon I got the hang of it. And then by the time we actually got onto set and did it, everyone sort of like all hyping us up. You know, the energy was definitely there. It really gave me that final push to be like, okay, this is it. We're gonna do it now. Let's make it special.
Absolutely. Your answer was like a perfect segue to my next question, actually, because
Oh yeah.
it's almost like you knew what I was going to ask. You're a pro, man.
Thank you. All right. What's the next one? What's the next one?
Well, no, it's more kind of like you bring up kind of, the challenges and the scale and everything, right? And I'm just wondering, like, not dancing, I'm talking now acting, right? But like my filmmaker had asked you this question, right? We're going to see a scene with Gregory and the family, right? And it maybe runtime is like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes to the next scene, right? But
Yeah.
I know that there's a chance that scene we see, even though it's 2 minute scene, took maybe the whole day or like 3 days to film.
Probably a whole week. Yeah, you're right.
So when those big scenes happen, right, where you're on them for such a long time filming on location, do they feel like their own mini movie, mini project alone, or do they overall feel part of Bridgerton? I'm curious about that.
No, I think you're completely right. They take so long to film, but when you're around all those actors that are like so funny and so lovely to speak to, those days feel so much shorter than they actually are because you're just having so much fun. And you know what they say, time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. Time flies when you're having fun on Bridgerton, one of the biggest shows on the planet. Absolutely.
Good
No,
point.
absolutely. No, well, it's interesting too, right? Because I find it interesting. You or like your friends or like certain people that might be on a project where you're there for a couple of days, and although the call sheet has 30 people, you might show up. You have a couple of days you're working with 2 or 3 people, and then you leave and you wrap, and that's it, right? And then some people might ask you like, "Well, it's like working with this person." You know what I mean? They're on the call sheet. It's like, no, we had different days. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but with Bridgerton, you really over the seasons have gotten that ensemble cast experience where you were able to kind of be there when everyone was there, have certain things. So from a learning experience, I guess, like what were learning experiences from an ensemble cast perspective, like working with everyone that you're going to be able to take for future projects specifically?
I don't know really. I've just kind of been winging it at the moment, just sort of going onto set, seeing it because that's you're exactly right. That's what's so nice about it because you'll do a project and you'll go to a rap party and you'll be like, oh hello, I know you're in the show, but I've never actually properly met you before. But with Bridgerton, everyone's meeting each other, everyone's saying hello, whether that's I don't know a script read through or a rap part like like a wedding or something like that. Everyone's interacting at some point, which I think is really really special about the show. But I don't know what I've learned from it.
I feel like just being there is just naturally kind of just taking everything in as a learning experience.
Yeah, I think maybe just seeing how different how people approach different things. I think that's quite special because there's not a singular way to act in this either, and it's just nice seeing everyone's approach to these sort of big ensemble scenes, which I think is something I potentially have learned from them.
Can we give a shout out to the whole crew of Bridgerton? Like the whole crew, production design, costumes. I mean, home runs, right? Like just incredible.
Everyone plays such a big part. Yeah, that's another thing that's so special about Bridgerton is that everyone's role on set is just as big as everyone else's, and I think that's really really lovely.
And it's interesting because we know that more Bridgerton's coming, and it's one of those things where you're just kind of taking it day by day and everything, and just enjoying the season 4 release. But it's cool to always think about the possibilities, right? Do you find it interesting too? Because sometimes you're on the fans' perspective too, where it's like you don't know and you're just kind of waiting like everyone. It's interesting to think about, right? Everyone thinks everyone knows everything.
Yeah.
But you're just kind of wanting to see how the story unfolds as just like everyone else, even though you're on the show.
Yeah, I mean, completely. I'm just as excited to see what comes next. I think I can speak for all the cast as well. We're just as big of fans as we are in the show, if that makes sense. So and especially for like me and Florence, like we're always on social media. We're seeing all the clips pop up, especially in the recital. Like we're seeing all those videos. They're all really really funny. But yeah, I don't know. Again, it's just so normal now that it doesn't really faze me anymore.
Absolutely. And then last question, I just wanted to ask. I know when you're acting as Gregory, you don't really think about the audience or reception because you're in the moment. I mean, I feel like you,
Yeah.
especially with a show like this, I feel like you can't. Like there's so much going on probably.
Yeah. That's the last thing. That's like right at the back of the head.
But it's interesting, right? Because we talked about kind of the rollout, and you even said like season 1, seeing everything on social media. There are a lot of different ways people are watching things, right? Like people have Netflix on their phones; they could watch it on their phones, right? There's all the clips, right? People are taking all the dance recital clips. There's like the clips that happen and everything. And I'm wondering, just in general, from an acting storyteller perspective, are you like post rap thinking about the audience a lot more than like you were like 2-3 years ago with how many different ways there are to watch content? Like it's interesting to think about that.
Not really, to be honest. I think especially when I'm on set, I'm just thinking about the scene and how I can best serve that scene as Gregory. After I'm off set, I tend not to think about it. I think what I am thinking about is what's happening in between takes, like just having my relationships with the other cast members, with the directors, with the producer, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's sort of out of my brain. I try not. I think it's probably healthier not to think about it because when you're thinking about it, then things stop being or stop feeling natural, which I think is a big part. You know, you want it to feel natural. You want it to feel like a family and not a bunch of actors that pretend to be a family, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And how big for you is the music component of everything with the string quartets and how the soundtracks come out? Like it becomes a two-headed monster now with Bridgerton, where I feel like people want to see a new season every year, but they also look forward to the music. Like it's a big part of it these days.
Yeah, I mean, the music's such a big part. I think, again, that's another thing, another component why people love the show so much because of the music, because it's so unique. You're not hearing any other show with these mainstream songs put into this time period. So yeah, I mean, I'm constantly guessing the next one. You know what? I'm going to start asking. I'm going to start asking them to put certain songs in because I definitely got a couple in mind, but I'm
Oh yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I feel, yeah, that's so interesting. I feel like that could be a whole like podcast series of people just recommending new songs.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes it takes a while too to like they build up certain songs, they take certain parts of songs, right? So it's like you're like, what song is that? And you know, oh yeah, it's Olivia Rodrigo. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
which is really, really exciting. But yeah, season 4 of Bridgerton, worldwide on Netflix, which is so amazing. I'm so happy for you and the cast. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so
Seriously.
much.
It was so great chatting with you. Will, so great chatting with you. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you
your
for
time.
having me. I've had a great conversation. I love this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. If they, you know, and you know what? If they've watched the new season of Bridgerton, right? They've already watched it, right? You know what they could do, right? They could watch it again.
Exactly. Why not?
Absolutely.
What else should you do with your time other than just watch Bridgerton?
Absolutely. Well, this has been Pop Turnitive, youtube.com/PopTurnitive for previous episodes, PopTurnitive.com with a lot of other content as well, including our Pop Turnitive magazine. Till next time, this is Will Tilston, who plays Gregory in Bridgerton, season 4 streaming now worldwide on Netflix, and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Turnitive. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Pop Turnitive on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.